Hey, Randy Joe here, and today we are going to be listening to Green Day's recently released, as in today, it actually came out, their new album, Saviors. Green Day, you know who they are. They do not need an introduction. They've been around since the early 90s. But that being said, this is their 14th album, number 14. That is quite a feat, and although they may not always be hits, it is certainly an event when they drop because, I mean, they are legends in the punk scene, especially in the pop punk scene, I guess one would say. But here it is, Saviors. Without further ado, we might as well jump into it. It's 46 minutes. It's 15 tracks long. Hopefully this will be a good follow-up to their last album, which was not so great, not so hot. But here's Saviors, kicking it off with The American Dream is Killing Me. Try to keep an open mind with this. Right off the bat, I want to say the production here feels a little claustrophobic. It's not the clearest. I think it's a little bit muffled in its mix, but we'll continue. A little bridge here. Got kind of like an orchestral package there. Kind of like that little bridge there. It's kind of nice, little breakaway. Kind of remind me of almost Lennon-esque. Crazy. Yeah. Typical, pretty controversial lyrics from Green Day. This passage is pretty solid, though. Not a bad opener per se. It certainly, feels like a modern day Green Day track, which obviously they are no longer in their peak fashion. This is not going to be anything on the level of an Insomniac or a Dookie or even an American Idiot. But again, very, very, surface level politics coming from them, which we've come to expect. At the end of the day, they are aiming for some sort of radio play. Let's not pretend like they are, trying to break the grounds in terms of politics. They do want to be played on the radio, which obviously if they went much further into their political beliefs, that would not be occurring. But, they want to offer up some fun surface level politics with a nice punk hard edge vibe to it. That first track there, could be worse. Could be better, but could be worse. Next we're going to Look Ma No Brains. Always a little bit of humor in them. Oh, Jesus. Pretty standard, punk rock track. Nothing standoutish. It's very muffled production. There's something, it's the mix is just not that clear. Lots of lines about suicide on this album already. Only the second track in. Someone keep an eye on Billy Joe. Alright. It's okay. Just okay on that one. We're gonna go to Bobby Socks. I like this cleaner start. I like this one so far. I like those. Oh. I like those vocals. The very almost screaming level. I like this song so far, but like I've been saying, the production on this thing has been pretty muffled and pretty muddy. I think this would be a stronger track if it was a little bit clearer. Maybe the instruments kind of mixed a bit more evenly. It's still enjoyable. I still like this one quite a bit. Definitely, I think my favorite so far. A nice bass line on here. Kind of just driving the whole thing. Repetitive, but I still think it's a great song. I'm liking this one a lot. Definitely feels like it's got a lot of high energy, a lot of fun infused into it. Okay, solid track. Next we're going to One Eyed Bastard. Really enjoyed Bobby Socks. Not sure how I feel about this riff. Okay. Those are certainly lyrics. Not great ones, but they are catchy. They add to the rhythm. Alright, that's a harsh line. I like the fun little Godfather-esque sort of motive he's got going on here. Call me crazy, but I think I like this one. The catchiness of it is really overtaking me. And I think the production on this one feels a bit stronger. Definitely, I think, better mix overall than what we've heard. Pretty solid track. Repetitive, sort of like how I felt about the last one before that. But, you know, if it's fun, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like Green Day is not aiming for perfection necessarily. You know, that's not their goal. Their goal is radio hits that are infectious, that are catchy, and that still deliver on that classic pop punk edge. Next, we're going to Dilemma. I think they're delivering, by the way, on that so far. This is definitely a step up from their last album. I like the soft regiments he's been singing in. Pretty good track. Nothing spectacular though overall. Kind of a middle of the road on this one. Hold on. I'm liking this bridge here. Ooh, that was a nice hard drop there. Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe this one is a bit stronger than it initially let on. Just an alcoholic anthem. Okay, not terrible. I think the second half of that track really pulled it through to the end there. Next we got 1981. Not sure how I feel about this one. It's a catchy chorus. Gonna bang her head like 1981, but it's and the energy's high, certainly. A little iffy on that one though overall. Next we're going to Goodnight Adeline. I think my issue is you know, not to live in the past here, but Green Day, I think at their height, which probably would have been the American Idiot era, had that very theatrical approach that I think worked for them. I really liked it. I know not everyone did, but Billy Joe Armstrong at the end of the day really's got that theater kid thing going for him, and he pulled it through quite strong with American Idiot. On Saviors and most of their music after 2010, I feel like most of that has sort of gone to the wayside, just for some pretty basic radio pop rock, pop punk rock, I should say. And you know, that's fine, but it's not my flavor. Continuing. I just wanted to put that out there. Maybe I'm the problem because it's not my tone. I like that little cleared passage there. A lot of themes of alcoholism throughout this album too. I like this chorus. I think he's really killing it with the choruses on this album. They're catchy, they're fun, they're anthemic. Alright, pretty solid track. Next we're going to Coma City. Again, I do think this album as a whole isn't definitely not their best effort, but it's certainly one of their better efforts in a while. And I'll take that. I'll take that. There's a track about gun control. It would sound like it. Like the sudden instrumental shift between the very hard, grating chorus, back to this more of upbeat, happier tone of the verses. Does really do a great job at showing the stark contrast of the happy everyday life and the current gun issues that are happening nationwide on a daily basis at this point. That's a funny line. I'm liking this one, like, narratively speaking, and I think the instrumental does a good job mimicking that narrative. Oh, I like this little switch up. The bridges on this too have been pretty stellar. Oh, I love this guitar riff that's sort of buried into the mix. I wish it was a bit more in the forefront, but maybe the best track on the album. That was a solid track. I thought, narratively speaking, instrumentally, everything was pretty sharp on that one. Other than, again, production aside, I do think this album is plagued by some pretty messy production. It's been a surprising album so far. And Coma City was probably my favorite. Maybe Corvette Summer. Wasn't a huge fan of the opening tracks, but it's turning around. We got a cowbell in here. I don't like this chorus, but probably the weakest chorus so far on the album. Not a huge fan of songs that just talk about, my rock and roll. Comes across as very almost insincere and tacky. Yeah, I'm not liking this chorus. Even the backup vocals aren't doing anything. Kind of a grating chorus. Kind of feels like it's just going. It's kind of just still going at this point. Bit of a repetitive track. That 3 minutes, it feels longer. Could have done shorter. Alright, yeah. I said everything I had to say about that one. Wasn't a huge fan. Next we're going to go on Suzie Chapstick. Thought Corvette Summer was just a bit too tacky in its themes of, love my music and rock and roll. Which is fine. It's all good and fine. Who doesn't love their music? I know I do. But having a whole track about not caring about anything else can come across as a little insincere. Next we got Suzie Chapstick. Bit more of a vulnerable track here. I like this melancholic tone of this one. I like the very playful instrument in the background there underneath these bars. Kind of a nice track. Nice, sweet, cute, yet depressive. No harm in this one. And it's not coming across as insincere or tacky like the last one. Always nice to have a good depressive punk track wedge into your album. I like this one. I like this one a fair amount. I think it's very cute, very fun. Shows a much more vulnerable side too that this album so far has been kind of steering clear of. Next we're going to Strange Days Are Here to Stay. Am I the only one who finds that Billy Joe's voice has surprisingly not aged too bad? Like, he sounds pretty good still. And they've been going at it for a while. Maybe I take that back. That was not the best delivery. That is true. Whoa, hold on. All the Madmen is a Bowie reference. We got a Bowie reference. Big Bowie fan here. And any song that shouts out the legendary icon that is David Bowie. You know, gets a bit of respect in my book. American Idiot reference, possibly. I like this one, implying that at some point in the mid-20s, times have changed. Something that a lot of people feel. I love how he says he lost his sense of humor, but this whole verse is riddled in a sense of snarky humor. How are you going to say you lost your humor when you have lines like, "Grandma's on the fentanyl now"? I'm liking this one enough. Liking it a decent amount. I think it does a pretty great job delivering on its premise. Next, we've got Living in the 20s. I don't agree with the idea that the 20s have been all downhill. I think, bit of a hot take here. I think any period in time you could jump into and people will be saying the same things. People will be complaining about the state of the world. I think just because we have it on our phones, on our devices, and we see it all on a not even a daily basis, it's an hourly basis. You go on your phone and there's something else. It feels like a constant thing, but that's because we have so much power just in the palm of our hands 24/7. If we had this 100 years ago, 200 years ago, I think it would be pretty much the same result. But again, times are always tough is I guess my point. But I get the sentiment here that Billy Joe's making. Ain't that the truth? Pretty hard, gnarly kick on this one. Okay. Holy shit, okay. Hold on. What an explosive display of guitar here. I like that one. Next we're going to go to Father to a Son. Said everything I had to say about the last one during the reaction. So let's just jump into this bad boy. Not bad, but not perfect. Not the best track so far, but definitely liked its very sweet sound. Next we got Saviors, the title track. Title tracks always worry me. Yeah, I don't. I'm certainly not loving this one. Something about calling themselves saviors and lines like this, "We are the last of the rockers making a commotion." To me, they put a sense of self-importance on themselves that I really do not care for, because I think there are plenty of rock stars speaking on the political issues that we deal with day to day. But hey, I think it's because they come from a time where they were the forerunners of it, that they feel the need to reclaim that title. But tons of artists are still doing it. Tons of punk artists are still doing it. Look at Soul Glow recently. Their last album was just full of in-your-face, absolute insane political ideologies being thrown at you. But I digress. We'll go on. Personal gripe. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Not a huge fan of that one. Let's just say that. We'll go into Fancy Sauce. I thought Saviors was a little bit too bland and undeserving of the title track, I guess. But what are you going to do? The final track here completely lost its mind. Go, falling like a yo-yo, a paradise for locos, medicate my sorrow. Medicate my sorrow is fine. But those first three lines there, especially the falling like a yo-yo, that's a yikes for me. Gonna join a cult, do a somersault. That's another, just like, what is that line? Like, what is that? What is he alluding to? Doesn't make any sense. I think he's just trying to find anything that rhymes with it. Not sure about that. Everyone's a victim. Not that, people do play the victim card, don't get me wrong. I agree. However, it comes with a very right-leaning mindset that seems very polarizing against Billy Joe's typical political ideologies. But hey, we'll let it go. Some lines here are fine, like watch the evening news because it's my favorite cartoon. I think, it's got that classic Billy Joe humor, but there are lines on here that are just like scratch my head bizarre. But here we are. This does feel like a closing track. I'll say that. It does have that monumental finish. Okay. There it is. That is the end of Saviors by Green Day. A little iffy on that last track. We'll say that. Because the lyrics, like I pointed out, were a little bizarre. A little less tongue-in-cheek and more of just plain bad songwriting. But all in all, I'll say this. This has been a surprising album in the fact that after their last album, I feel like Green Day, was really making people feel like, that's it for them. They can't certainly go back to the height of their career. And not that this is reaching that peak, but it's certainly an improvement, and it's a pretty decent album from them. I'm actually kind of shocked at how enjoyable a lot of these tracks are. Bobby Socks, One-Eyed Bastard, Coma City, I think was a clear standout, personally. I thought Suzie Chapstick was really fun and really cute, while at the same time, just being a nice heartbreak track, among all these very politically charged ones, of course. The politics on this album, very surface level, but from Green Day, I'm not expecting anything, grandiose or so bold in their artistic political statement that it's going to blow me away. Yeah, this has been enjoyable, but I will say the worst thing here, by far, I think, has been the mixing of the album. A lot of it feels overblown. Just some of the instruments are definitely not as in the limelight as they should be. There are certain passages where a guitar solo happens and it feels like it should be brought a lot more over the mix and made much more front and center. And then there are just elements where all of it just kind of blends together and sounds like pure sonic mush. But what are you going to do? Not the best production and mixing on this thing, but that's the way it is. But all in all, I did enjoy the album more than I disliked it. Cannot complain about enjoying an album. If you like this album, please leave a comment down below what you thought about it. Love to hear your thoughts, your opinions about it. Maybe you can change a negative thing I said, or maybe you can just, rip into the album. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you hated it and you just don't want to say anything positive. You can do that. Leave it in the comments. But if you like my reaction and you want to see more videos like this, then please hit like and subscribe to follow along in listening to more albums alongside myself. I will be reacting to albums old and new, because we just do everything here. Why not? Do whatever we're feeling. But that pretty much does it for this video. My name is Randy Joe, and as always, I'm signing off.